Throughout history, religion has been an interesting topic. It is the attempt to answer the unanswerable. Why are we here? What is the meaning of all this? How should one live their life? As an omnist, I believe that there is truth in all religions, despite me not devoting myself completely to any particular religion, so perhaps I am in no place to give my 2 cents on any religion or religious belief. However, if there was a person who is the most qualified in this department, it would be Andrew Bowen. Andrew Bowen, who was once raised Christian, eventually grew up to not only become an atheist, but to literally hate religion and what it stood for. This was until he met his now wife Heather, a devoted Baptist. Despite their commitment to each other, Andrew and Heather couldn't find an agreement when it came to religion, and would often fight about the subject. Hence, Andrew decided to start Project Conversion. Andrew would fully commit himself to 12 different religions in 12 different months. First, he would start with Hindu in January, Baha'i in February, Zoroastrian in March, Jewish in April, Buddhist in May, Agnostic in June, Mormon in July, Muslim in August, Sikh in September, Wiccan in October, Jain in November, and Catholic in December. Now, I am aware, as I'm sure Andrew is as well, is that to completely understand a religion, it would probably take more than a month of devotion to completely feel the benefits that it provides. Nevertheless, a month provided enough clarity and understanding for Andrew to experiment at least an understanding. When Andrew began his journey, he started a blog for each month, noting everything that he thought was significant to his experience. Rather than give you the details of every blog post, I decided for this video to only tell his summary of each religion at the end of each month, since this video would be hours long if I reviewed every post Andrew did during his experience. If you are interested in reading Andrew's blog, the link is in the description below. January. Hinduism. When reading Andrew's summary of his time practicing Hinduism, one thing he mentioned was how he is committed to certain requirements of this religion. For example, Andrew's still vegetarian, or at least he was when he wrote this due to his commitment to Hinduism. Meditation has also had an impact on Andrew's life, and I quote, "Meditation/yoga, a practice that transcends religious tradition, has become a powerful ally. I am calmer, far more patient. My passion is controlled and guided, and I see the positive in a situation far more readily than in the past. In fact, the results have been so dramatic that I haven't used profanity even in thought this whole month, and even my libido is tamed. Yes, I have a lot further to go, but I like my new depositions, and I credit the trained focus of meditation and yoga for that result." February. Baha'i. The two things that really stood out for Andrew during his time practicing Baha'i was community and thanks. When Andrew explained the importance of community in Baha'i, this is what he said. "I can tell you that I would never have made the progress I had without the support of my new Baha'i family. Entire revelations stem just from having a leisure cup of tea or chat with other Baha'is. The importance of communal life is something I will carry forward. The Baha'i places a large emphasis on this community life." Giving thanks. We have taken our existence, the very operative function of our bodies, for granted. For Baha'i, mankind is the only creature on the planet who can discern God. Look at what we are doing right now. I am participating in the very journey Baha'i Lua talks about in the 7 Valley and the 4 Valleys, an essay describing the spiritual journey of the seeker of God. You are here with me. Participating as a fellow oarsman in this quest for understanding is the fact that we have this capacity, this ethereal curiosity, not a reason to give thanks. March. Zoroastrianism. Andrew mentioned something quite interesting about the religion Zoroastrianism. Zoroastrianism is one of the first organized religions, and that the Christian, Islamic, and Jewish faith are stemmed from Zoroastrianism. It turns out that the ideas of saviors, day of judgment, heaven and hell, one God, etc. are all based on the Zoroastrianism. Andrew's take on Zoroastrianism is quite different. He talks about the religion's take on fire and how it has affected him. In Zoroastrianism, fire symbolizes divine purity and illumination, serving as a sacred element in rituals and ceremonies to honor Ahura Mazda and promote spiritual growth. Here's what Andrew had to say. I will never look at this element force the same again. My life-changing experience with fire taught me new ways of viewing this powerful manifestation of energy, this pure symbol of the divine. I've always had a fascination with fire, but the added symbology and reverence to the flame in relation to the divine ensured that a flame will always dance and inspire with its life and warmth in a place of honor in my house. Andrew also mentioned that practicing this religion made him appreciate the past and how important it is to our current life. April, Judaism. What I found really interesting about some of Andrew's takeaway from Judaism was how they were encouraged to question the religious texts of Judaism. This is really interesting and frankly quite important, not only in religion but in all things, where your own establishment encourages one to think for themselves. This is great for growth, independence, and one's own freedom, because all freedoms begin with the freedom of thought. Without that, we become worse than slaves. We become robots. May, Buddhism. Andrew said in this post that practicing Buddhism was like P90X to the religious world. P90X is a workout, I think. The discipline that it takes to become a successful Buddhist is more than any he did before. According to Andrew, he says, one of the central reasons for this intensity is because there is no independence of a divine figure. If you are to be free, the Buddha says you have to do it yourself. Andrew also stated, I feel I have a greater discipline to carry the rest of the year. The Buddha is a great example of self-reliance, perseverance, and determination. He has taught me how to never settle for less than the goal, to push myself to the limits of my comfort and understanding. He continued, whenever I feel anger, I catch myself, detach, observe, and make a course correction. The power to detach oneself from your thoughts and observe them objectively is a great tool, not only at one's path toward enlightenment, but in developing a positive outlook on life. So this unrelenting editing process will serve me well in the future. June, agnostic. Nothing really interesting came from this month. Mormon. This was an important religion for Andrew, as he used to harass missionaries of the Mormon faith, even chasing some down once they came to his door for recruitment. Like most people, they have had interactions with members of the Latter-day Saints. Andrew said that they are the most friendliest group he has ever met. The sense of community and the belief that every person on earth is a part of the same family, looking at a stranger as if they are your own brother or sister, is what the Church of the Latter-day Saints preach, which contributes to their love and friendliness to the world. August, Islam. Like the Church of the Latter-day Saints, Andrew had a personal vendetta against Islam, except maybe a little more extreme. This is the sentence from his blog post. Islam and I were sworn enemies once. Now we are friends. Once upon a time, I wanted to kill every Muslim, every last one of them. Now, I'd welcome them into my home. This month wasn't so much about providing Andrew with a sort of Islamic practices to take with him for the rest of his journey, but more or less a journey of forgiveness and understanding of a religion that he once hated so dearly. September, Sikh. Out of all the religions, Andrew stated that this religion has definitely the biggest change to his appearance. These are the before and after pictures of Andrew. As far as practices go, Andrew stated that the two words to describe the Sikh religion was meditation and service. Sikhs are called to meditate on the presence of Waheguru, God, meaning the awesome light which dispels darkness and everything. Andrew states that there is no duality then, no evil spirit versus a good one. God is in everything, everywhere, at all times. Our salvation comes in recognizing His order and presence in the cosmos. Serving both the earth and humanity are Sikh essentials because Sikhs observe the divine in everything. This concept reinforced the respect I have for this environment. Wiccan. The Wiccan religion is a new religion based on a form of paganism. Like almost all of Andrew's months, I only read the last post before he departs for the next one, and this is what he had to say about Wiccan. My experience with the goddess, magic, and interactions with the congregation, seeing the divine in nature, relishing in the simple pleasures of the environment around me, meeting my spiritual guide, these are what I'm packing to take with me going forward on this journey. November, Jainism. From what I've read, Jainism is probably the religion with the most dedication. According to Andrew, Jainism is about avoiding and shedding karma in order to free one's soul. It's a tough regimen that even the laity have a hard time with. I compared it to the Marine Corps boot camps. The system is harsh, but you're in the best shape of your life. Requirements such as eating only a small meal a day, sleeping on the floor, not being able to drive or even bathe. Jainism believes that every living thing has a soul, which means their life shouldn't be harmed. Andrew wasn't even allowed to have a negative thought. December, Catholic. When Andrew grew up, he was a devoted Catholic and eventually became an enemy of the Catholicism. So for him to come back to becoming a devoted Catholic was quite important to him. One thing that Andrew pointed out in his final blog as a Catholic was the artistic architecture of the church. This is what he had to say. The sheer volume of artistic expression within Catholicism is mind-blowing. A patron of the arts in the highest order, the Church itself commissioned many of artistic geniuses we hold in such high esteem today. Much of the Church's architecture, no matter how small or large the building, seems to proclaim the gospel of Christ, just as the Holy Spirit is said to transform the essence of the bread and wine of the Eucharist. That the very same Spirit seems to transform the churches themselves into bold proclamations of the gospel. Bold proclamations of the gospel. In Andrew's final blog post regarding Project Conversion, this was the summary of his journey for each religion. Hinduism. This large and manifold faith system opened the door for all spiritual expression. I will always use Sanatana Dharma as a reminder that the divine can manifest itself in many ways. Baha'i. My first glimpse at progressive revelation, I gained a new vantage of how spiritual truths might transmit from one source and shine through different manifestations throughout the ages, depending on cultural spiritual context. Also, my introduction to interfaith work. Zoroastrianism. The first month of difficulty, I understand the nature of faith withering by its own cultural walls. In many ways, this faith contributes to the theology of the three Abrahamic faiths, which dominate much of the spiritual landscape today. I pray the flames of this religion burn bright for generations to come. Judaism. Here I learned just how interconnected faith and culture really are. Jews bond with one another via faith and tradition in very intimate ways. Jews introduce us to pious ways to struggle with God, to know the divine more deeply. Jews are also fantastic cooks. Buddhism. I will never forget my weekend with the Thai monks at their monastery in Bolivia, North Carolina. There I learned the art of being present in the moment, of the inevitability of change, and that hammering a random piece of crooked metal can change one's life. If you're walking, you are only walking. That's meditation. Agnostic/atheism. A strange month for all of us. I unexpectedly came to rely on the structure and routine of religion, and so not having one during this month disorientated me. Here we challenge the notion of faith and religion. What does it mean? Is it useful? I learned the art of doubt and reason, and how to use them to either hone one's faith or dismiss it altogether. Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The only month in which members actively try to convert me, but I love them anyway. The LDS challenged my notions of who or what a Christian might be and how Christ could reach other peoples. The welcome involvement of my local Mormon branch was hard to top. Islam. A month of healing. I once hated Muslims to the core, and now I consider them brothers and sisters. As I fasted during Ramadan, I was trained in the art of discipline and reflection. The 5 daily prayers, Salat, kept me focused and turned spiritually in ways nearly unrivaled anywhere else. Sikhism. The most visible faith. My appearance literally changed as I wore a full beard and turban. I received a small taste of what it's like to stand out as a minority, to feel the stares and assumptions all around me. I fell in love with the saint-soldier philosophy and will certainly take this mentality with me through life. Wicca. Perhaps our most bittersweet month. We began with a week-long battle to earn the trust of the pagan community as I thrust myself into Wiccan tradition. Through perseverance and faith, we came out in the end with a fuller understanding of this faith tradition, which honors nature, the goddess, and the god. This was my first intimate connection with the divine feminine. Jainism. Another rocky start. Few were fans of my decision to observe the entire month as a monastic. However, despite the disagreements and struggles, this faith offered a glimpse into what it means to be truly nonviolent and to honor and care for the life around us. The Jain way also reinforced my lessons in wants versus needs from my time with Islam. Catholicism. The capstone of Project Conversion. In many ways, this faith experience brought all the positive elements sought after each month. For me, Catholicism was strange yet familiar, as it helped me see my former Protestant faith in a whole new and exciting way. Although I didn't read every blog post regarding Andrew's experience in Project Conversion, I did find a lot of really interesting perspectives and practices that I would like to apply to my daily life, such as Jainism, for example. I'm aware that I am an omnist, so I do have a lot of biased opinion, but I believe that happiness, like everything else, takes effort and dedication. and one way to reach this is through faith in a higher power or through a devotion to a certain religion. A great quote I heard went something along the lines of, "Religion is the pathways up a mountain. The closer they reach the peak, the closer these paths are together." Even though I stated that I am an omnist, I believe that people should be encouraged to create their own religion specifically for them. The reason Andrew's blog caught my attention is because through studying different religions, there are a lot of practices that I believe in, or that have beliefs and stories that make sense to me. It only makes sense that I should be able to pick and choose what I like and ignore the ones that I don't. And as a result, I've developed a lifestyle that is custom made for who I am, that can give me everything I need to live a fulfilled life. Now all I have to do is believe in it.